And now you're closing all doors to a fire alarm pit. The answers aren't going to come so easy anymore. Like a disastrous vacation. Your arms won't fly anymore. Your eyes won't guide anymore. And you're going to see exactly why your hands are becoming so intricated without movement. And because every arm doesn't want to move anymore. And because every stinger doesn't want to sting anymore. Because you're going to find your answer between your sense and your ideals and your everything that makes you want to keep things. Like an accordion player trying to break his bass. The tone of every sentence is going to come back to you. And every haunting sense that you can see doesn't want to come and see your eyes. Because you can't see your eyes. Your own sense doesn't want to see yourself. Because suddenly you become a mummified person whenever you consider everything. Whenever you consider anything outside of yourself, outside of your own gesticulations and thought, and every process and every elimination and every justification and every thought. Because there's a circle. It's not a circle of life. It's a circle of contendent, 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 contendent. Because you crunch everything up into consumption and to every bite of your fist. Because you're going to see every answer come within everything. Because you want to block everything. Pretty basic. Pretty nonsensical. But of course your argument is pretty easy. The blowhard, the pinhead, the everything that becomes a box and smaller than a box. Almost like a little line on a piece of paper. That's all it is. Because that's all you ever wanted. You didn't want anything else. You didn't want an answer that gets bigger than that. You don't like that. And when it becomes that, you become everything hysterically. You drown everything like a frickin' three-ring circus. You can't even allow a plumber to plumb your pipes. That's it. You destroyed it. That's why there's so much gunk everywhere. You've destroyed the acceptance of it. It's like a shadow. It's like a shadow at night between your eyes because you can't see anything anymore. But maybe it's easier for you, right? Isn't that the slide? Isn't that the envelope? The easy lickety-split? And the easy turning of the thumb upward and everything else, like a flower parade? But you're becoming dumber. Because you're finding everything easily. It's not even using your instinct. Instead, you're using somebody else's instinct. The casualty of lambs and horses comes between you. Meaning you're allowing everything to be based on the neighs and the yelps. And the throwing vines and everything else. Because that's easy. Yeah, that's easy. That's an easy answer because you can see it, right? Because you can see it. It's a lot harder to see yourself, isn't it? It's a lot harder to answer yourself. It's like a blocking motion between your neck and your eyes. Things don't connect sometimes. But sometimes you just don't want to connect them. And most of the time it's like that. Most of the time it becomes something you just sort of just say, I'm going to throw myself to the angels and accept their penetration. But you don't know if they're angels, do you? You don't know the coexistence of things. Sometimes you try to brave it because you try to see if everything comes up fine afterward. And even if it doesn't, as long as it doesn't hurt you physically, rape, molestation, something like that, abuse. But even when it gets to that point, it's acceptable. Because you'll know it. You'll know the noise. Because that's it. Everyone else will do something about it. Because you can't answer your own question. It's like hard copy. Only one person with a VHS tape? And that's it? That's not enough. Well, then it'll never be enough. Your life isn't worth anything then. Remember that. Because if you're trying to get answers between yourself and others, you can look at me and you can see exactly why I do too. Because everybody's getting hurt. It's not only me. But that's the ideal, is to think that, oh, well, he's only getting hurt, that's why, or he's pretending to be hurt by it. So then he's going to talk about it as if it's a real thing. Oh, of course, because you're not getting hurt by things, and you never will. But see, that's you, isn't it? But maybe you wouldn't even have to worry about your constant bickering within your mind and slowing things down on the outside if you accepted some kind of different view. And not only a different view, jumping to the slaughter is not the answer. Jumping to the mask doesn't turn you into anything else. It doesn't turn you into any green thing. I created this, and I blew myself down. That's your answer. Because you expect to become the wind of desire. Everybody's going to come to you like a vaulting hawk, an eagle. They're not going to come. They're going to wait in the shade, constantly. No bickering, no morse, no ideals, no sense, no forgiveness. Not anything. But that's why you're here. Because you can see something else. But not like a purple rose that's far away, that you only see a fog of. No. You're just lying to yourself constantly. So that makes things easier for you. Even when you're hurt. Even when you're really hurt. Even when you're really not represented for. That's the hard one, isn't it? Not being represented for. When everybody else is, or isn't, and doing the same thing as you. Meaning they're closing it out and saying it's okay. That's the point. You just jump down. Fall down the hole and look up the ladder and see that someone else is up there. Only one person, of course. Meaning there's a very small amount that actually climb up the ladder and fight it. And that's why they're considered martyrs a lot of the time. They shouldn't be. They should be emulated, not martyred. There's a difference. When you martyr somebody, you don't take action with it. And you probably don't believe it yourself. You're very cynical and sarcastic at that point about the person. Because martyrdom isn't respected. If it was respected, people wouldn't even spend the time saying he's a martyr. They would just join or exeviate their own expression through it. Because that's the real sense of using creativity. It's not destroying somebody else's following and perspective. It's creating your own through that. So every individual comes out and sprouts out their wings. That's exactly why there's any beneficial thought. Because if you just throw yourself down and throw everything down on another person, being sarcastic and cynical towards them and saying, oh, you're stupid, you're idiotic, how can you believe those crackpot theories? Guess what happens? You become another stone, like the rest of them. You don't even have a view anymore now. And any view that you would have would now be considered the same way, because you've now shown your entreatment of others. So you become the throwing stone, but you also become nothing. It's like I said before, the test tube. You become a test tube and you don't even have a baby. There's no baby, it's just a test tube. That's all it is. Nothing is born out of it. The expression of things should only be alleviated to a bigger level, so that everybody expresses themselves. Not in agreement, but with tolerance. Very big difference. You don't even have to agree with the other person. But if you see that they're expressing themselves with no altercation and no negotiation, and they're just doing it on their own accord without using an organization that was created for those so-called martyrs that we look at the past, which they are. But see, the problem is they were martyred by our government, and they created organizations that are controlled by government so that they could represent the people that died as martyrs, supposedly, when they were given 2-minute snippets on TV. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I don't want to have that kind of courteous thought. I want to destroy and create my own asphyxiation. And so should you. All of you. I may believe things, and I have facts to back my claims up. Just like everybody does. Because I look at the people that have respectfully looked into it themselves. That have done the research for years. On many different accounts that I talk about. But my biggest one, which goes back to a great time in elementary and my time as a child, is I never felt represented for. And I'm tired of saying I just vote like my parents do. I'm tired of saying that. I'm tired of saying that. I'm tired of not having my own individual view and letting everyone else validate if it is a true view. It is a true view because it's me. It's not you. And maybe other people had the same view as me. But it doesn't necessarily mean they influenced me. Because I was a kid when I said I didn't feel represented for. And if I got influenced by somebody else because of that, don't blame me. I was a kid. And I'll tell you one thing. I haven't changed my mind. And I certainly will not vote. Because my parents voted that way. I'm closing the door on you. Because I can see you. But like the attic, you're going to drown. You're probably going to fall down. The styrofoam won't hold you because they'll probably just be styrofoam. And the ceiling will probably cave in. I tried to save you. But not by being a martyr. Not by being sort of, omnipresent and everywhere. No. Don't need to be. I'll tell you one thing. You have created yourself, but you've also closed yourself because of it. Because you've created yourself upon somebody else's ideas. And by saying, I can really listen to that quote and agree with it. Try to create your own quote and agree with it. An original quote. It's very easy to do now. Very easy. I'm jumping down doors. I'm opening everything. And I'm making certain that you will have to do things on your own. No force-fed broccoli. Like a kid. If you want that, you look for your own answers. If you want. Or you could avoid it completely. But I can see you. And you can see me. So take care. Bye.